Good morning, everyone, from Broken Hammer Forge. Shadow says hi. Hey, buddy. And, of course, his new friend, Charcoal. There's the kitty. We do have a change in the shop right now. The cat is currently pregnant. So very soon we're going to have a whole mess of kittens in here, which can make my life more interesting. Today we're working on what's called a Gunter Chain, which is this fella right here. This thing is a surveyor's chain. So this is used to lay out land, construction sites, etc. And it was invented in the early 1600s and used for about 2 centuries until eventually replaced by the tape measure, or the metal tape measure, that is. George Washington used this one when he did his early surveying days. It consists of 100 links, each one about 8 inches long, and then you have markers every so often for 10-unit increments, so you can get 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. And there is Kitten. Too close, blurry. Say hello, Charcoal. Say hi. I know. I see you. You're hungry all the time right now. Okay, so we've got the straight bars, the links. This is, of course, what they look like when they first come out. And then we have the links here, which, of course, we forge them open so they can fit around. Then we have our primary jigging, which is 2 steps. One is this guy here, where we put the material in like this, clamp down, and bend over in order to isolate the circle portion. Then we have the actual circle jig, where we have a vice grip to grab it, wrap everything around for both the small links and, of course, the ends of the larger links. Once the parts are made up, assembly is easy. Take 2 of the large links, 1 of the small ones, in like so. Pair of tongs, and then close the link. Assemble it up from there. Repeat that 100 times, and there you go. So we're using the gas forge for this one. They're all lined up and they're getting warm. We're doing that because there are lots of little pieces, so we can just assembly line things through, and also because they're small, so the little buggers tend to drop down in the coal forge and get lost. So we'll have our jig here, pieces rolled out, we clamp it down, and then start working around. It's actually done in 2 heats. We do the initial wrap by hand, and then the second wrap with the vice grip. There's your initial part. As you can see, a ring will tend to stick because it's wrapped all the way around, but this part here is tapered, so once I get past a certain point, she comes off fairly easily. That's a fail-safe. And then we simply take this, bend them like that while they're still a little bit warm. Okay, so we've got the small links finished. Now we need to get to the big guys. And for that, we're going to go the full length, 90 degree, 2 90s, and partial curl around, and then, of course, the full on both ends. And from there, it's assemble. So only got a few left to do. Alright, time for the assembly line. Okay, so that is where we've got the one side done for all the units. We didn't actually show all of them in the video, that's just a portion of it. But there's all of step one with the 90-degree angles. And then now on for step two. Alright, so at this point we're at this phase here. We've got the curl on one side, just need one more on the end here, and then these guys will be finished. Okay, so we need to have a couple hold down pins for the Gunter chain, and they're going to have top handles like this. Now this is a oddly frustrating thing to try to make, actually. All these angles end up getting in each other's way, but there is a fairly simple technique to take care of that. Everything heat up a little bit here first. Starting, we got a 2-inch mark right here. Amp that in, bend around, and then hammer it on down the rest of the way. So we're starting with that. Then we're going to come back about the same distance here. So then we go in about that same distance. Pull it around, do the exact same, hammer down flush. But the trick is, they're all from each other 90 degrees. So this one's soldered this way, this one's 90 degrees in the other direction. This allows us to then clamp it here, pull around, then we just twist to fix it. So see, typically, if you brought this all the way through here, this section would be in the way of this guy getting flush. So by having it 90 degrees sticking up this way, it gets out of its own way, and then when you're all set, a little twist fixes everything. So this goes in like so. Pull down. So now we're all set, but you see how we're just turned 90 degrees in that one section. So then just heat and twist and put it back in place. So simply clamp in here, lift on up, then hammer flat. And ta-da! Fairly simple. Okay, we're all set. We got all of our large links, our small links. Now just for the fun job of assembly. Okay, so here's the finished Gunter chain. Now we're going to set it up and show how everything gets used. Okay, so we're all laid out now. You see them here. There's the lines of the chain going to that corner, that tie point there. And a little disclaimer, this is not a standard Gunter chain. The usual one, or the traditional ones, were 100 links, each one about 8 inches long. This is 84 links, each one being about a foot long. And so what this is set up for is to set up a 3-4-5 triangle. And the concept of that is if you have a triangle that has one side of 3, one side of 4, and then the diagonal of 5, it'll give you that corner will be 90 degrees. So it's a simple little geometry trick to lay out a 90-degree corner. And so then, of course, the triangle being 3, 4, 5, and then multiples thereof. In this case, it's a multiple of 7. So we have 21 feet, 28 feet, and 35 feet for that diagonal. And then we pull everything taut once we have the two corners pinned. And we know that this corner up here is going to be 90 degrees. That's, of course, pinned in place there. Now come on over. We have this corner here pinned in place. And, of course, that goes with the diagonal back to where we started. This is made for laying out, we're going to use it for gardening, but also can be used for animal fencing, any sort of construction type stuff where you need a 90-degree corner. It can be shrunk down as long as that ratio is maintained. We can also set it up for parallels. You can set it for perpendicular lines. Lots of options. So anyway, neat little system, old school layouts, and thanks for watching.